So welcome everyone. As we said, last official day of summer, heading towards the idea of the fall equinox tomorrow. For those of you that are newer to yoga practice, you know, you're going to find as you continue to practice, we yoga teachers like these big changes, you know, these shifts, and kind of the momentous things like equinoxes where day and night are balanced. And then of course we'll get to the solstices later where there's a lot of disparity between light and darkness, because a lot of our yoga practice is about kind of finding balance, not just doing balance poses, but finding balance between how much you're efforting in your practice, how much you're able to relax and let go, and using that as a template. You know, if you tend to push too hard in your relationship, in your lives, in your work, and you need to be able to pull back a little bit, you know, you have that intention and you practice it in your yoga practice, in the physical body, even in the way that you breathe. You know, a lot of the yoga breaths are about balancing that inhale and that exhale. We do some other patterns just to kind of pull ourselves off of normal, but then kind of get back to that. So just, you know, I wanted to put that in your mind before we begin our practice today, because we're going to explore, I think, a couple of shapes and postures and do them in a way where at one point in the practice it might be really kind of restorative and soft and gentle and nice, and in another part it might be kind of vigorous and challenging to hold. Notice how you react to those different iterations of similar movements and similar feelings. So with that, just coming to whatever seat feels comfortable for you today. Have whatever props you need within grabbing distance. And then just come to sit. Palms down is typically thought to be a little bit more grounding. Palms up will be a little bit more uplifting, lightening. Kind of see what your day has kind of, how that's affected your energy, and then decide how you want your hands. And of course, if neither feels exactly right, you're also welcome to start with hands at heart center. Wherever you are, you're just going to bow your head, close your eyes, and begin to follow that pattern of breathing. And definitely now, as we begin practice, thinking about the balance or the potential to balance your inhale with your exhale. Probably the easiest way to keep track of this is maybe by assigning a count, a beat for how long it takes you to inhale, how long it takes you to exhale. If you would like for this breath to move towards what we call in yoga Ujjayi breath, feel free to do that. You're to get that breath, you want to just slightly constrict the back of your throat so that the breath has much more of a, you know, it's got an audible quality to it. There's a whisper. It also creates a little bit of friction, so it kind of can help with heat as we enter the season where we're maybe looking for more heat instead of letting go of heat. If they're not already there, bring your hands to heart center, bow your heads, and take a moment to set an intention for your practice. One more big deep breath, feeling like the breath can fuel that intention. Exhale, let the breath out with a sigh. Let your hands drop down. Inhale to sweep the arms out wide. Interlace your fingers, flip the palms, and then just move a little, whatever feels good here. Some wiggle side to side, arching the spine front and back. Drop your shoulders down, lift your heart up, take a nice big deep breath in here. And then exhale, sweep the arms wide out to the side. Interlace your fingers behind your back. Draw your knuckles towards the floor. Lift your heart towards the sky. Inhale. And then exhale, come into a little forward fold here. Kind of going as far as your back will let you. Let your head drop down. Maybe pull those knuckles back in space like they're trying to stay connected to the floor as you lean into this. And then go ahead, roll yourself back up. We're gonna shift, come over to hands and knees. Heel of the hands right underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Inhale to arch your spine. Tailbone goes up, belly drops down, lift your chest. Exhale to round your spine. Tuck your tailbone, lift your belly, look back. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. Very basic movement, shifting the spine between that flexion and extension. Just kind of feel your full range of motion. And the next time you come up into that cow, you're gonna hover in stillness. So you're gonna think about drawing your navel up towards your spine, drawing your tailbone down towards the floor. Push into your hands to lift the rib cage up. Now, while in this still body position, can you really pay attention to moving the breath? So as I inhale, I'm taking in breath. You can kind of see my belly drops a little to the floor, but my spine's not moving. And then exhale, draw those abdominal muscles up to the sky again. Really subtle, small movement. Inhale, fill the belly. Exhale, draw the belly up to the sky. Notice the effort required here. Inhale, relax the belly. Exhale, draw the belly up. Good. Now let movement back in. Inhale, arch the spine, look up. Exhale, round the spine, look down. Inhale, come up. Exhale, this time just go ahead, shift back into a child pose. Take a nice, slow, deep breath in here. And then if you'd like, maybe walk your hands a little bit side to side. So walking the fingertips over to the right. Both hips drop down towards the floor, especially that left hip, so that you get a nice big stretch through the left side. And then we'll go to the other side. Walk our hands over to the right. No, walk our hands to the left so that we stretch out the right side. Both hips drop down, especially the right hip. Breathe into the right side rib cage. And then go ahead and walk back to center. Shift back up to hands and knees. And let's just lift up into a downward dog. First one of the day. Maybe. Pedal out the knees a little. Definitely not the last one of the summer. We'll probably fit a few more in before the end of practice, before the end of today. You can do some heel lifts here. Move around, whatever feels good in your body. And then take a little walk. Walk your feet to the top of your mat and come into a forward fold. Soft bend in the knees, drop the head down. Maybe give the head a little shake. So, first deep forward fold of the day. Keep the knees bent. Give some space for your hamstrings, especially if you're coming from your day at work and you're feeling kind of stuck and tight. Don't worry. We will be going after this area of the body a little bit today. Maybe rock, front to back, side to side. Soft little bend in the knees. You're going to roll yourself all the way up to stand. Coming to the top of your mat and finding your mountain pose. So feet are going to be about hips width distance apart. Take a nice soft little bend in the knees. So you're not kind of pushing yourself forward, but you're really working on stacking the hips above the heels. Feel that your rib cage hovers right over the top of your pelvis. Draw your shoulders back and your arms back without feeling the body surge forward. And then lift, crown of the head up to the sky. Breathe here. Now it's called mountain pose. Feel strong and full and centered in this pose. And then we'll add some breath, we'll add some movement. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, fold yourself forward. Soft bend in the knees, hands on the shins. Inhale, lengthen the spine, chest comes forward, tailbone pulls back. And then hands to the ground. Step your right leg back in a nice deep lunge. We're gonna bring the right knee down to the ground. Position your foot however feels better on your foot. And of course, feel free to use blocks here if you want them. Inhale, extend your spine, chest forward, shoulders back. And then we're just gonna exhale, shift this left leg towards straight. You're pulling your left hip back in space. Push into that heel so your toes kind of lift up. And then come forward, back into your lunge. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, press into that left heel, pull the hips back in space, extend your spine long. The more you're reaching forward with the torso, the bigger stretch we're gonna get on that left leg. Inhale, come forward into the lunge. Exhale, press back, straighten the legs, the front leg. Inhale, come forward. Curl those back toes under, lift the back knee. Let's twist. Right hand on the floor of the block, left hand goes up to the sky. Inhale, extend from that back heel through your sternum. This can be left hand or it could be hand on the hip. Think more about the rotation of your spine. Your right ribs are trying to kiss the inside of your left inner thigh. Breath in here. Exhale, left hand's going to the floor. Step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your heels up. Exhale, drop your heels down. Inhale, lift your heels up. Exhale, drop your heels down. Inhale, lift your heels up, come forward, high plank. And we're gonna exhale, come all the way down to the floor. Uncurl the toes. Elbows on the ground right underneath the shoulders. Press down into the ground with elbows and wrists. Draw your shoulder blades back in space, open up your chest. Nice big deep breath in here. We're gonna move our arms and we're gonna try not to move any of the rest of the body from the shoulders down. Right hand comes right by the bottom of the right ribs. Left hand follows, baby cobra. Elbows squeeze together, chest lifts forward. Are your toenails still on the ground? Exhale, go ahead, press back. Downward facing dog. Let's come into that lunge on the other side. So you're gonna pick up the right leg, step the right foot all the way forward between the hands. Left knee comes to the ground. Decide how you want that foot. Decide if you want some props here to give you a little more space. Left hip's drawing forward in this lunge before we even start to move. Right hip draws back, extend the spine. Exhale, we're gonna move the right leg towards straight. Right toes point up, chest reaches forward. Come forward into the lunge, inhale. Press back. It's almost like a little tiny pyramid pose. Right heel presses down, toes up, chest forward. Lunge into it. Pull back, come out of it. One more time, come forward, come into it. Then back foot's gonna curl under, back knee lifts, left hand is on the ground, right hand either reaches up or hand on the hip. Your focus is rotation of the spine. Can I get my left rib cage? Yep, my left rib cage to my right inner thigh. Without sending my hips moving in space, keep the legs stationary, rotate the upper body. Breathe in here. Exhale, hand to the ground. Back foot steps forward, forward fold. Inhale, roll on up to stand. Sweep the arms up overhead. Oh, let's exhale, go right back over. Hands on the shins, lengthen the spine, chest forward, tailbone back. You can touch the ground, bring your hands to the ground in this half Uttanasana. Big deep breath. Exhale, let's step the left foot back into a lunge. Bring the left knee to the ground. Uncurl those left toes. Walk your hands up onto the right side. So right hip's pulling back in space, left hip's pulling forward. And let's just kind of drop into this a little bit. Feel like as you kind of push your right foot and your left foot into the floor, that you can drop your hips down a little bit and then extend the spine up a little bit.
Inhale, we're gonna sweep those arms up. And exhale, let's twist. The left hand comes forward, the right hand goes back. So the legs are on the ground. It kind of makes it hard to get deeper into that twist. Use the muscles around the midsection. Can you drive your left rib cage towards your right inner thigh? And your right rib cage back in space while still breathing. Inhale here. Exhale, you're either gonna do prayer hands and kind of hook your elbow, or if that doesn't feel good on your back, just use your elbow to kind of nudge you a little further into that twist. Nice big deep breath in here. Exhale, hands to the ground. Step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the heels up. Exhale, drop the heels down. Inhale, lift the heels up. Exhale, drop the heels down. Inhale, come forward, high plank. I should have said this, you can always do knees down on any of these. Exhale, we're gonna lower all the way to the ground. Uncurl the toes, toenails are on the mat. Forearms slide forward, come into your Sphinx pose. Elbows pull back in space. Lots of space between the two collarbones. Open up wide and really imagine that this sternum, that breastbone, reaches straight ahead. Maybe a tiny bit up. You don't have to look up. You can look straight ahead. Think more about the sternum moving than your face. And then we'll do that same little shift. Lower body doesn't move. Legs stay on the floor. Torso stays where it is. We'll do left arm first. Pop that left. You can't even see. There's my elbow. Left elbow back. Hands in line with the bottom of the ribs. Baby cobra. Right hand joins it. Elbows pull back, chest reaches forward. Now curl the toes under. Exhale, lift your hips up, downward facing dog. Let's go to the other side. Left foot lifts, inhale. Exhale, bring that left foot all the way forward. Right knee's coming down to the ground. Come on up. Hands on the front thigh. Shoulders drop down. That same kind of angling of the sternum. Can you extend the spine and feel like it's lifting up and out? That was wrong. Up and out. Right hip pulls forward. Hips drop down. Everything's sinking in the lower body. Imagine your feet could kind of drop through the floor. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, we're going to twist. Think of that twist happening in the torso. Your right ribs are moving towards your left inner thigh. Your left hip needs to drop down. Notice if it's creeping up. Rotate. How far can those ribs come around? Shoulders drop down. Did your hips pull up out of the pose? And then exhale, hands to the ground. Lift the back knee, step up, downward facing dog. Nice deep forward fold. Inhale, come all the way up the stand, sweep the arms up. Exhale, draw your hands through heart center. Take a moment, take a little pause, find that mountain. Really sturdy through the feet. Crown of the head lifts up. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, fold yourself forward. Hands around the shins. Inhale, lengthen the spine, chest forward, tailbone back. If your fingertips touch the floor, let your fingertips touch the floor. Your knees can remain a little bit bent in this so that you can find the floor. We're gonna step back, high plank. Knees up or knees down, whatever you feel like, but I want you to find that same mountain quality. Press through your feet, lift the crown of your head forward. Notice if, like the mountain pose, you kind of sag a little bit here. I want you to draw your belly up. You can soften your knees a little and really feel like your legs are doing some work here. Exhale, come all the way to the ground. Uncurl the toes. Find your forearms forward. Shoulder blades back in space. Lift the chest, lengthen the spine. So we've got Sphinx pose, easy for me to say. Sternum's reaching forward. Shoulder blades are pulling back. Can we find that mountain pose one more time? Curl your toes under. So mountain pose in other poses one more time. Knees can stay on the ground or they can come up. Coming into a nice forearm plank. Heels press back. Belly lifts up. Again, knees can be up or down, but I want you to really focus on legs being strong, belly lifting, trying to keep your ribs in line with your hips instead of one going up, one sagging down. All right, big deep breath in. All right, we're done. Exhale, put yourself down on the ground. Chest lifts, collarbones are wide. Right hand's coming back, left hand's coming back. Curl your toes. Push yourself all the way up, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your right foot up behind you. And exhale, let's step this right foot all the way forward between the hands, coming up into our high lunge. Right hip pulls back in space. Left hip pulls forward. Shoulders drop down. Extend the crown of the head nice and tall. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, let's open up to a warrior two. Press your feet into the ground. Extend your spine up nice and tall. Right leg's gonna straighten. You're gonna reach forward with that right hand. Come into a triangle pose. Same thing as that twist. You can lift up with your right hand, or you can do hand on your hip and kind of roll that shoulder back. Work on a straight leg without kind of collapsing into that knee. Straight arms, straight legs. Turn your toes, so you're gonna turn and face this way. You're gonna turn your right toes to face the same direction as your left toes. And then we're coming into a forward fold. Hands can be wherever it feels comfortable. Floor, block, you can hold on to the side of your legs. Changing my mind again, I want you to have side view. Notice where your hips are in space, try to bring them forward. And wherever your hands are, notice if your elbows kind of go out to the side, can you draw your elbows back in space? Wherever you are, drop your forehead towards the floor. Top of the head, not really forehead. Lean into this. And then inhale, slowly come up. Bring your hands onto your hips. So from this nice wide stance, we're just gonna take our heels and draw our heels in. So your feet get a tiny bit closer. And then you're gonna bend your knees. Wow, I got two nice big cracks from each knee. Coming into this goddess pose. Tailbone down, collarbones wide, chest is open. Hands on your hips so you can feel where they are in space. Okay, and I also want another side view. The tendency is for the knees to pop down and the tailbone to go back. So you're trying to get as narrow as you can, left to right. As you drop into this, we're keeping hands on the hips. I want you to lift one heel and then drop it down. Notice how my hands don't move. So my pelvis isn't moving. I'm just trying to move my leg in my hip socket. Really working on activating subtly the muscles around the hips to support this movement without shifting the pose. This is like a really serious goddess. She means business. She's not going anywhere, even though she's moving her legs. Good. From here, you're gonna press into the ground, come up to stand, turn your toes into one another, fold back over, walk your hands back up to the top of your mat, high plank. Big deep breath in here. This is mountain. Soft bend in the knees, ribs line up with pelvis. They can be down or they can be up. We're gonna exhale, come all the way to the floor, uncurl the toes, find Sphinx. Sphinx. Elbows underneath shoulders, wrists on the ground, sternum forward, shoulders back. Curl your toes. One more time, finding this mountain pose. Lift the belly. If you feel like the work is in the abs and in the legs, lift the knees. If it goes into your back, as soon as you lift the knees, keep those knees down. 2 slow, easy breaths here. And then go ahead and come down. Uncurl the toes. Walk the hands back, left side, then right side. I lied, you can turn your toes right back over. Lift up into downward dog. We're going left side. Inhale, lift the left foot up. Exhale, we're gonna step that left foot all the way forward between the hands. Come on up into your high lunge. Right hip pulls forward, left hip pulls back in space. Collarbones are wide. Chest is open. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, open up, find warrior two. Check out that left knee. Notice if it's falling in. Same kind of premise as that goddess pose. You can feel where your hips are in space. Knees coming forward or maybe out to the side a little. Arms come up. Relax the shoulders. Take a breath in here. Exhale to straighten that left leg. Inhale, come forward and down. Finding triangle. That left hand can go on shin, floor, or block. Either right hand straight up or hand on the hip. Rotate the torso, almost like you're opening up your chest towards the sky. That's going to increase this inner thigh stretch or maybe hamstring stretch on the left side. Breathe here. Go ahead, come on up. Left toes are going to turn in to face the same direction as the right toes. So you're, again, going to take a forward fold. If it feels okay on your shoulders, you can do this kind of interlaced finger grip, and fold. Notice if your weight drops back into your heel. Keep bringing your weight forward towards the balls of the feet. Crown of the head drops down. Knuckles lift up. By the way, if interlacing the fingers bothers your shoulders, you can always do this hands on the hips and just pull shoulders up, pull elbows up. Breath in, push into the floor as you exhale and feel like that pushes you all the way back up in space. So let's do heels in again. Come back into a goddess pose. Sometimes the kind of shimmying into it helps you get a little bit deeper. Check out those knees. They're moving back in space. Your tailbone moving forward in space. That kind of narrows you left to right. So here, you can do the same thing. The one heel lift at a time that we were doing on the last side, trying not to move the hips, or you can go two heels at a time. And with the two heels, instead of thinking about where your hips are, think about where your shoulders are. I'm not letting my shoulders go up and down at all. I'm just kind of moving my legs in my hip socket, and my whole pelvic torso region isn't going anywhere. Woo, except for all over. Okay, legs straight, turn the toes, fold forward, walk back up to the top of the mat. Step 1 foot back. Come all the way down to the ground. Make a little pillow with your hands. Rest your forehead. So think about the straightness of that mountain pose that we've kind of recreated. High plank, forearm plank. Here we'll call this the no arm plank, or you can call it crocodile pose if you'd like. But I want you to breathe into your belly. Find some effort in the legs, like you're trying to make them longer. But relax the shoulders. Relax the belly. Reconnect with your breath if it got a little bit reedy. Get back to that nice balance. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Good. And then we're going to go ahead and bring the hands back to our cobra pose. Lift your chest. Curl your toes under. Press back downward facing dog. Take a little walk, feet to the top of the mat. And we're coming into a forward fold. So you want to see how far down you can reach. Maybe it's heels. Some of you might be able to do yoga toe lock. First two fingers and the thumb will hook around each toe. You'll notice my knees are bent here so that I can reach my toes because my arms are much shorter than my legs. What you want to do is think about lifting your hips up and dropping your head down. Do that again. Lift your hips up, drop your head down. Notice if your arms are pulling really heavy on your body. Let them relax a little. Maybe shake those shoulders out a bit. And with shoulders less tense, elbows pulling back, then maybe the arms can be a little more helpful. Gentle tug while pushing into the heels, lifting the hips to the sky. Take a nice big deep breath in here. And then exhale. Bend your knees, sink your hips, belly towards the thigh. Let's come up into our Utkatasana, chair pose. Sink your hips down, draw them back. We'll twist left elbow to the outside of the right elbow. No, right knee. Prayer hands, or if it doesn't feel good to go closed, stay open. Just kind of use that left arm to press into the right knee. Open up. 3 nice big breaths here. And then exhale, unwind, fold forward. We'll do another one of those forward folds. So again, holding onto your ankles, yoga toe lock. If anybody's got the old gorilla pose, Padahastasana, you can scooch your hands palm up underneath the soles of your feet. Drop into this, it's a little scary. Think, press into the feet. Lift the hips up, drop the head down. If you feel like you're gonna fall forward, use those abdominal muscles. Pull the belly up, to pull the tail up, to fold deeply in here. Good, go ahead, release the hold you've got on your feet. Bend your knees, sink your hips, chair pose. We're twisting left, so you're either doing right elbow to the outside of the left knee or doing kind of that open twist. If you're a little more open, not open, but more extended. Left hand on the left hip, rotate, or we do those nice prayer hands. Take a big deep breath in here. And then exhale, unwind, forward fold. I'm gonna scooch back up to the top of my mat. Inhale, extend your spine. Exhale, step the left leg back, nice long lunge. Let's bring the left knee to the ground. You're gonna bring your hands inside your right knee. So we come into that lizard lunge that we do a lot of times. And we're gonna let the right knee drop out and then draw the right knee in. Right knee drops out or right knee pulls in. Do that one more time. Good. Then we're gonna keep just the left hand on the floor, or it can be on the block. Right hand on the right knee, and you're gonna twist, and you're gonna look over your right shoulder. So here's where things can get interesting. There's a lot of different ways you can go. You can stay in this, kind of stay in the twist, knee down, chest up. If you'd like to go a little deeper into this twist, you can turn onto the pinky toe side of the back foot and see if you can rotate around a little more. So now it's kind of like I'm stretching out the outside of that right hip, looking over the right shoulder. There's a lot of work involved here, and I'm trying to relax as best as I can from my left rib down to the outside of my left ankle, so I get a nice big stretch there. Or you're in this part way, you're still kind of working for that stretch, keeping the knee down. 2 breaths. And then let's go ahead, unwind. Let's just shift back, hands and knees. Inhale, arch the spine. Exhale, round. Inhale, arch the spine. Exhale, round. Good, let's do left leg back, because that was the leg that was back before. You're gonna take your right leg, kind of rotate that right foot onto the floor and pivot up into a side plank with a kickstand. So your right knee is down, your left leg is long, left foot is pushing into the floor. You can do that top hand up, or it might feel better to do hand on the hip and just let that shoulder drop back, open the chest. If you want more work, press into the left foot. See if you can extend your right leg long. Side plank. Breathe. Don't collapse into that right shoulder. Lift the upper body up away from the shoulder. One more breath. And then go ahead, carefully, gracefully unwind. Shift back the hands and knees. Push back to child's pose. Nice big deep breath in. Especially feel kind of the sides of the body open up with your breath. And then curl your toes, lift your hips, downward dog. Let's take a little walk, slow, steady walk, feet to the top of the mat, fold. We're gonna go right to the other side, which I think means the right leg goes, the right leg goes back in space, right knee comes to the ground, left arm is going inside the left knee into our lizard lunge, right? Chest is forward, collarbones are wide, block or no block, and now you're gonna move, that left knee drops out, and then it pulls in. Try to keep this right leg still. Left knee pulls out, maybe you can see now the bottom of my foot, draw it in. A few more of those with breath. And then we start to get this action, this turning action. So right hand is on the floor or on a block. Left hand is on that left thigh, and you're gonna slowly turn, look over that left shoulder. Just like we did before, my right ribs are trying to get to my left inner thigh. This might be as far as you twist, or you see if you can take this down the leg, kind of pivot onto the pinky toe side of that right foot. If your knee doesn't like this, don't do this. And then see if you can drop the outside of that right hip towards the floor as you keep rotating. We're looking for this kind of sideline. Armpit to outer hip, outside of the leg, like the stripe on a tuxedo pant. Feel like that melts towards the floor. Okay, a nice deep breath in here. Exhale, unwind. Shift your props around, come to hands and knees. I can't remember exactly how I did that graceful transition to the other side. But let's just do right foot behind us. Put that right heel on the ground. Left foot's gonna kind of pivot. So the left hip's gonna pivot so that foot can go behind. So you're coming up into your side plank with a kickstand. Shoulder draws away from the ears, chest lifts up to the sky. Stay here, or extend that left leg, kind of cross ankle over ankle. Find that kind of mountain quality here, really strong, not collapsing here. If you feel like you're collapsing there, really shore up the legs, squeeze the inner thighs together, push into the feet. Okay, everybody out. Unwind, walk up to downward dog. And then from downward dog, let's walk feet towards hands, hands towards feet. Slowly come up to stand. Find your strap. So we're gonna play with balance a little bit. Oh my gosh, it's getting so late. We're gonna play with balance a little bit. And we're gonna play with some of these kind of extended leg poses. So again, if your balance is not great today, go move yourself closer to a wall. We're gonna come into a forward fold, little soft bend in the knee. And the first thing I just want you to practice doing is grabbing hold of this right foot. You can do that yoga toe lock, or you can hold the outside of the foot. And I just want you to stand into the left leg, maybe hold the left leg with the left arm, and try to come up. You know, like you're picking up, you left a pair of socks on the floor last night, and you forgot to pick them up. Switch to the left side, grab that left big toe, right hand holds the right hip, push into the right foot, come on up. I know nobody picks up their sock that way, right? We kind of like flop ourselves around. Use strong legs, use your abdominal muscles, reach down, grab that right big toe, push into the left leg, stand. Do the same thing on the other one. Grab that left big toe, push into the right leg. You can use hands, stand. If you're already frustrated by this, I'm going all the way back, and I'm not jumping out the window, don't worry. Use the wall. Bend down, I'm pushing my left hand into my left foot, I'm grabbing my right toe, and I've got the wall behind me, so I can even kind of push off, but feel your legs really strong. So what this is gonna go to, besides just a single leg stance, holding onto your foot, we're gonna now extend that leg, which is where you might decide, there's no way in heck I'm gonna stand with my leg totally extended out, holding onto my foot. That's why we have a strap. So you can take your strap, loop it around your right leg, little soft bend in the knee, left hand on the left thigh, come up to stand. Look at something that's not moving. Draw your belly button towards your spine. Rib cage right over pelvis. You can still be standing against the wall while you do this. And then can you stay almost mountain-like and extend that right leg forward? Just for a breath, just for a beat, come down, switch legs. Loop around that left foot. Tight grip, short grip, however you want it to be. Push into that right leg. Come up to stand. Once you're up, ribs over pelvis. I'm not locking out that standing knee. My shoulders are back in space. Boom. Left heel reaches out. Bring it back in. Back to the ground. Switching feet again. So this time, you're gonna loop your strap around your right foot. If you're just using your hands, actually either way, your left hand is gonna be the holder of the right foot. So left hand is either holding the strap or it's holding the right big toe. You're gonna push weight into that left leg. Still use your right hand for support. Come up, kind of hold onto that right leg. Get tall. Okay, so the mountain's a little bit confused because your body's already starting to twist. Left ribs, right inner thigh. Feel like they could come together. Boom, right hand back, right foot forward. Yeah, just do it, get out of it. Switch the other side. Again, this whole series, you can have your butt up against the wall so you don't fall over. Right foot staying on the floor. Left foot's coming up. My left hand's on my left hip. My right hand's holding my strap or my foot. I'm coming up. Finding my mountain pose. My mountain has a little twist. I'm going right ribs to left inner thigh. Shoulders drop down. Left hand back. Left foot forward. Get out of it. Come back down. Fold. You're going to do one more or possibly two more. You decide if you're just working on coming up straight and trying to stand up tall this way, or if you want it to be a twist. But all I want you to think about is using those legs, stand firm into them, come up. Don't worry what the result looks like. Because this is kind of obviously this is balance pose. You're standing on one foot and I'm making you slang your lips or throw your limbs all over. But see if you can balance that like end result need with the I'm just getting up and I'm using those really strong muscles in my legs to do it. And I'm using my abdominal muscles to help hold it too. It's lucky that we have a big class because I can't see all of you and then tell you later what I thought of it. So just do it, play with it. And then as soon as you are finished, whichever round you're on, you're gonna walk yourself back to your yoga mat. You're gonna inhale, sweep your arms up nice and tall. Exhale, fold yourself forward. Bring your hands to your shins. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, we're coming down to the ground and we're gonna lie on our back. So you might just be able to roll, or you might need hands. Roll yourself onto your back, hold your knees in, breathe. Big deep breath in through the nose. Oh, exhale, let it go. Big deep breath in through the nose. Exhale, let it go. Let's take a nice big neutral twist here. Left leg's coming out long. Right knee is gonna drop over to the left side and your right arm's going out. Did I say, I didn't mean neutral. I mean more of a restorative or gentle. Feel free to put a pillow underneath that right knee or underneath the right shoulder if you need a little support. Breathe here. Hug that knee back into center. Let's do some ankle swirls. Just moving in one direction, then in the other. Especially after standing on one ankle at a time. You probably notice one feels a little more stable, kind of pushing up than the other. Oh, hug that right knee in. And then go ahead, actually, while we've got the right knee, let's do like a happy baby. Start the left sole of your foot on the ground, left knee bent. You're gonna take your right arm inside your right knee. Does it look familiar? This is how we picked up our legs when we were standing up. You're kind of drawing that knee in towards the armpit. You can keep this left leg bent or extend it long on the floor. And just take a couple breaths here. Maybe rock a little bit, side to side. If you were really exploring the extending the leg when you were standing up, see how it feels different lying down on the ground. Also, I didn't tell you to get a strap, so you might not be able to get that leg anywhere near straight, and that is totally fine. All right, hug it back in. And then let's switch legs. Right leg's going long, left knee comes in, nice and tight. And then we're gonna do left leg over to the right. Again, you might do pillow underneath this left knee. Left arm kind of stretches out behind you. Let this stretch, let this twist feel supported and soft. Notice how gravity is kind of pulling that left leg towards your right ribs instead of all those other poses where we were trying to move the ribs to the inner thighs. And then back to center. Hug the knee in. Roll the ankle. One direction, then the other. All right, and then we're going to do that half happy baby. So you're going to take your left arm inside your left knee, and you're going to see if you can grab your foot. This right knee can be bent and foot on the floor. Sometimes when we're in a standing pose, it's actually easier to get further in your range of motion, but in this relation to gravity, you can feel tighter. So it's totally fine to keep that knee bent, or if you've got the space, move it out a little bit. And then while here, little movements. Maybe you're rocking a little that left leg. If you were really struggling with extending the leg standing up, play with it here. Press through that heel. Tailbone drops down, heel presses away. That's how we straighten. Unlike those many forward folds we did before, it's easy to keep the spine straight because you're on the ground. So kind of feel that neutral upper body and just move the leg a little. And then we're hugging knee in close. And then you want to grab something. Block, pillow, blanket. We want to come into a supported bridge pose. I'm not going all the way up into the tall height. So I would say medium or low. And you're going to work on maybe walking your legs out as long as that doesn't hurt your low back. Also, you might play with the position of the block. I know a lot of people that actually do this with the block, kind of almost like a continuation of their spine. So play with this. See if this works for stretching out the front of the body, abdomen, pelvis, and those hip flexors, because we did so many forward folds today once we got through all of our lunges. And again, it might not feel good at all to have your legs straight. If that bothers your back, if it feels too intense, keep those feet on the floor. Because we're going to breathe here. And just try to let gravity open up the front of the body. Walk the feet in. Lift the hips up, take the block out from under,
land the hips back on the ground. Take a few breaths here. Maybe rock the knees a little bit side to side. And then roll on over. So one more kind of opening up the front of the body. You can use your block. I just put it on the low height, and I'm putting that block really right underneath my shoulder blades, letting the head drop to the floor. Maybe you could do medium, probably definitely not tall. This might also feel a lot better if you just had a couch cushion to do that. So we're really kind of opening up our chest and relaxing here. This is like a supported fish pose. If you want to do full fish pose without a block underneath, kind of get this funny alignment, almost like you're sitting on your hands. You're going to scooch your elbows as close to each other as they go, and then you kind of scooch. So I'm tucking my hands now all the way underneath my body. I still have space between my thoracic spine and the floor. I'm trying to get the top of my head to touch the floor without letting the top of my arms. So you see that upper arm, like where my humerus bones are, they're not touching the floor, just the lower forearms. Yeah, this is active with the block. A nice passive fish. Deciding where you need to be based on what's going to bring this practice the most balance. And then wherever you are, you're going to slowly bring yourself up, chin towards the notch of the throat, peel yourself up, moving arms, moving blocks, and finding your way into your final resting pose. So you can do legs up on something, an ottoman, a chair, legs extended long, maybe just a pillow underneath your knees, palms face up. Head resting on the floor. If it feels like your neck is in not a comfortable position to relax, maybe putting a little pillow or just a small blanket underneath the head, kind of right by that occipital, that bottom ridge of the skull. And breathing here. Invite a little movement into your bodies. Roll wrists, roll ankles. Maybe stretch your arms up overhead, reaching them out as far away from the feet. Notice different sensation if you press more through your heels or more through your toes. Once you've kind of gotten as big as you can, take a nice big breath. Feel like you can expand side to match that top to bottom. And then you're going to hug knees into your chest. And you're going to roll over to a little ball on one side. Slowly bring yourself up to sit.
Spine's nice and long. Imagine the crown of your head lifting up to the sky as the shoulders drop down, the knees drop down, the hips drop down. Take a nice big deep breath in here, and then bring your hands to heart center. Bow your heads, fold forward. We'll end here, everyone. Namaste. Thanks for coming.